Now, police in Cleveland are not taking things lightly when it comes to security. They've reviewed their security plans following Thursday's attacks in Nice, France. Not to mention the attacks here in Dallas, Orlando, and San Bernardino, all lone wolf style attacks. Joining me this morning to address these concerns is Chris Copeland. He's the director of the Institute for Homeland Security, Cybercrime, and International Criminal Justice Studies at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth. Good morning, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, let's start off with what happened in Nice. It's not a local situation, but ISIS has claimed to be responsible, and it was a lone style attack. So what impact might that have on the convention here in the States?
Well, immediately they're going to counter that style of attack if they haven't already.
Okay.
It's not uncommon to block what we would consider vehicle-type attacks or vehicle-borne weapons. This happens a lot. We saw it a lot in Afghanistan and Iraq, that vehicles would be used as weapons. So it's not uncommon to counter that. My guess is that they will probably beef that up a little bit more or push back the barricades a little further.
Okay. Now let's talk about what happened just 9 days ago in downtown Dallas. One person targeting police officers. What would you say would be Cleveland Police Department's approach as they attempt to make sure that everyone is secure given this event?
So the Cleveland Police Department is going to really work very closely with the U.S. Secret Service.
Okay.
And the U.S. Secret Service is the one that is in charge of providing any political candidate for president protection. That's since 1968, I believe. So they're going to be working very closely with them. The biggest concern right now that Cleveland has is that it's sort of a perfect storm. You have a split in the Republican Party, so emotions are running high.
Okay.
You have the split between the Black Lives Matter movement and groups that are pro-Trump, like the Bikers for Trump, the Riders for Trump. And then you have, on top of that, the fact that Ohio is an open carry state. So it's completely legal for them to all be armed up to the point where the Secret Service has cordoned off the area. So you add all to that, the fact that the Cleveland Police Department is under a consent decree from the Department of Justice. So Cleveland doesn't want to lose all the work that they've done so far in polishing their record and making sure they're in compliance with constitutional law, but they've got all of these parties with emotions running high from terrorist attacks, from the attacks here in Dallas. It's a perfect storm, and I really hope nothing happens.
I mean, you have to anticipate that when emotions are running so high, it makes securing people and making sure everyone's safe a lot more challenging. But how do you train or prepare for the unknown of people's emotions and those emotional outbreaks that may occur?
So the way you go about training for that is you run officers through active shooting drills. You try to remove as many environmental aspects as possible. I remember reading that they've changed the trash cans from being opaque to wire trash cans that are less easy to hide something in.
Interesting.
You take every possible consideration to reduce the threat of violence as possible, but then there's no way to actively prepare for a lone wolf style attack. You're looking for something that may not happen. And so there's no easy silver bullet solution to this problem.
And quickly, for people who are observing, is there anything they should be looking out for as they're in this event, in this area?
If you see something, say something. It's a tried and true method. Contact your local police department, contact the federal authorities. If you see something out of place, it looks uncertain to you, call it. Go ahead and call it in.
All right, Chris Copeland, thank you so much for joining us this
Thank you.
morning. Now, ISIS is claiming responsibility for that attack in France. Still ahead on Daybreak Saturday, what we know right now about the attack that killed more than 80 people, plus dealing with grief and what feels like a barrage of very difficult news. A grief counselor we've talked to before joins us once again with ways we can talk to our children and help ourselves get through these tough times. And a widow's final conversation with her husband as we continue to honor the 5 fallen Dallas officers.